Morning family, it's Tasha, Mama Bear Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up, let's talk about it. We're just going to kind of talk about kind of what everybody's talking about, and it really doesn't matter like what background you come from or what's your political background, or are you a prepper, not a prepper. And that's kind of, what's going to happen next. When is the other shoe going to drop? What more can we handle? What's around the corner? What does 2022 look like? And I do several videos where I talk about new stuff, and I do talk about, things to prepare and things that I think might happen and things that I'm watching and those type of items. But I think that it's very important to concentrate on the things that we can control. What is it that you can do right now to prepare, yes, to get your family ready for whatever might happen or come your way for you and your family this next year? And I think the more you can control and the more, I guess, tight you get those things that you can control, those areas, the better off that you'll be. Okay, and so today I just kind of want to talk through some different areas of control that I think are vital. And if you can get these on lock and you really think about how you can strengthen these areas, then whatever happens, right, you'll be in a better position, right? Because the more you can actually control, the better position you are in general in life, right? And if you concentrate on those things too, I always have a saying, concentrate on the things that you can control, right? If you can't control it, there's no reason to get upset about it, get angry about it, be negative about it, because if it's out of your control, it's out of your control, right? Stay positive by owning and knowing the things that you have control over, and then strengthen those, okay? So let's talk a little bit today about those areas, okay? And I firmly believe that if you control these areas, you will have a better peace of mind. You will maybe have a better calmness and not be so anxious and have this feeling of overwhelmingness. And it just gives you more options, okay? If you can control these areas, then you don't have to be dependent on a government coming through talking about, hey, you need help, I'm going to help you, right? Or, you'll have more options moving forward, right? For making your quality of life better, but then also your decisions that you will have to make moving forward later in life, right? You making a decision to put food on the table, if you're not able to do that and stockpile and get ready for the day that there's no food, now you run the risk of having to do what somebody else is dictating you to do because you don't want your family to starve, right? If you do not prepare and control the area of food, for example, in your family, in your dynamic of what you're preparing, then you run the risk of, okay, the day they show up talking about, hey, come to this camp, we're going to clothe you, feed you, clean, have hygiene for your family. And if you're not able to control those things and get those things in check, then you run the risk of having to depend on somebody, okay? So here's the area. So we just mentioned food. Food is a huge one, Food will bring a family to their knees. Food will bring somebody who is outspoken, standing up for their rights, wants to do the right thing, whatever, and then there's no food, they have to feed their family, okay? They have to feed themselves, and they will make poor decisions based on the fact of being able to eat and get food, okay? And so this is a huge area, you guys, if you can get food unlocked. That's why we talk every day about, yes, being prepared, stockpile food. You don't know what's going to happen. And we talk about all different types of things that could happen, but food is so critical, okay? Because it all goes left super fast when the food runs out, okay? And if you are a family that is not prepared, and even if you are a family that is prepared, the threat level goes through the roof, okay? And so the whole game for everybody changes. And so It's important to get food, and it's very important to preserve it. Learn how to preserve food. Learn how to make the food that you have last the longest that it can possibly last, okay? Because it might have to last you a very long time, okay? Learning how to preserve food that you foraged or you caught or you hunted or whatever, those things matter, okay? Because then you know how to get food, okay? So food is powerful, and it is an area of control that you need to make sure that you get on lock. Same thing goes with water. I always say it is a scary thing for anybody that lives in an area that doesn't have natural water. Basically, natural water meaning tons of lakes, rivers, it rains all the time. That scares me, those states that does not happen, okay? And it makes me think, what happens the day that, the water is an issue, and what do those people do, and where do they go? And they will be controlled. Those people will be controlled. You have to control that yourself, your water levels, how you get water, where you're at, okay? And how you're going to be able to get that water. Because if you're currently living somewhere where that's going to be an issue, water will control people. Okay, 3 days, people need water or they die. Really, 24 hours, people's bodies start shutting down. Okay, so again, you can say all day long the decisions that you'll make, but if you don't have water and that's what you need to live, it's much easier said than done than to just say, oh, well, we'll just lay down and die. We're fine. Okay, then let somebody else take control of you now because you need assistance. Medical concerns. This includes you having the ability to take care of yourself and medical emergencies in your home, okay? The hospitals, doctors, for whatever reason, we have no idea what's going to happen, but you have to have the ability to take care of yourself and control this area in your life. You have to be able to control that you have over-the-counter meds, you have holistic options, you have tinctures, you have books and manuals showing you different things. You have vitamins, supplements. This includes all the outbreak stuff, all the virus stuff, right? Being prepared to be able to handle those types of situations on your own. You get told there's an outbreak of something, instead of you panicking with everybody else, you control the dynamic. You control what your family is doing next. You control being safe with your family, how to treat your family, how to treat symptoms. You need to take that into your own hands and learn how to do that, okay? The more you control this area, the more you control, let's say somebody in your family taking taking a prescription med, and you've done the research now to figure out what are your closest backups to that. That is you taking control of your health, okay? Having the medical supplies to be able to handle injuries, okay? Somebody falls down the stairs and breaks their leg. How do you handle that, okay? You need to be able to handle these situations, and so the more you can control this area, then the better off that you'll be, okay? Money options. Having different varying levels of monetary stuff, whether that's bartering items, whether that's cash money, whether that's Bitcoin, any kind of silver, gold, crypto, whatever it is, you guys, but having options in that, okay? Having different things and different layers to your money, okay, and access to that. Maybe none of that works at the end of the day, okay, but you don't know, and the more options you have, the more control you will have, okay? If a major grid down happens in this country and the banks cannot give you your money and ATM shut down, that is a huge part of the populace that are not prepared and will not have options, right? And they might have been able to help themselves. Let's say somebody starts coming around wanting money for something, and if they had options, they might be able to continue to move forward with stuff instead of feeling that they're in an opportunity to be controlled, okay? Because they have no access to money and anything to be able to barter and survive, okay, in a situation where there's grid down, and still do some sort of business. Next thing I have is skill and knowledge level. If you can control, you can control this area, but if you can control it, meaning learn the skills, right? The things that you want to do and learn how to do them now. Don't wait for tomorrow. First of all, life is super short, and you need to learn these things while you have the easily opportunity to do so, right? You have the internet to just go to. There's a lot of webinars and free information out there, free manuals, free classes, free all types of stuff, okay, to learn all types of different skills and get your knowledge up. You don't have to go to college to learn something, you know, you don't have to pay most of the time to learn how to do something. There is a ton of stuff out there at our fingertips to be able to be learned and for free, okay? So control this area of the knowledge that you have, your skill level, you control that. So control learning about gardening or learning about hunting or learning about preserving food, whatever it is, learning how to build something with your hands, okay? Get those skills, get that knowledge, and get it now while it's easily can be done. Next thing I have is get out of debt. Now, this is an area, you know, but it's a control area, okay? If you owe people money, that is a control over you, okay? You owe somebody money. Now, people will argue, you know, if there's a total collapse and the economy collapses and all this stuff, who cares about debt? Everybody will be in debt. There'll be no way for people to pay back anything or do anything. But I would argue that you don't know, first of all, what's going to happen, okay? Maybe it's not that type of collapse. You don't know how long that is there, right? And so you having the ability to say, I own this, you cannot take this from me. So then therefore, let's say, you know, the importance of paying off your house, for example, let's say, and something happens and then people are like, you know, you lose your job. This doesn't have to be total collapse. This could just be for you, your life financially changes, you know, and you have to have the ability to be able to pay things still. And so the less debt you have, the less heartache that is, okay? The more control you have if stuff is at least paid off. Yes, if it's a world-ending event, you're right. Who cares, right? If it's a total world economic collapse and everything just goes super, super bad, yes, I get it. It won't matter and everybody will be the same. But I'm talking about life things that happen, right? You are making money and all of a sudden something happens and you are not. And the more debt you have, that's more people coming after you. That's more people threatening to take things from you. And so the less debt you have, the more control you have over the things that you do own to some capacity. Yes, and people will argue there's all types of things. Oh, the government can come and still take it. I get all those aspects, okay? But what I'm talking about is life in general. Get the control back. It's yours to have. Get it back. Pay your things off so that you don't have people looming over you and controlling you to some extent, okay? Next thing I have is grow your own food, right? Obviously, grow your own food, and then the next one is raise animals, even backyard chickens, right? It is so gratifying and I just recently started growing this last year, growing your own food, harvesting your own food, eating that food that you literally grew with your own hands. And so that control and knowing that you have the ability that you would not have to depend on somebody and that you could grow something that actually made it and was actually edible and sustain you and your family, knowing that you can do that is a huge, huge blessing, okay? And so it's a control, though. It's an area that if you can control this, if you can get it down pat on you growing your own food and growing enough to sustain you and your family, that is amazing, okay? And again, now you're not having to fully depend on a grocery store to get that stuff, okay? I will tell you right now, some of the stuff that I was growing on my patio garden was way better quality than what I was getting from the grocery stores this last year, right? And I'm talking about bougie grocery stores. We're just having horrible fruit and vegetables, okay? So growing your own food, raising your own animals, even if it's something as just simple as having 3 or 4 chickens in your backyard, okay, check out the zoning, see what you can do, okay, and just do something, right? Get a couple rabbits, right? You have those rabbits, first of all, they breed really fast, meat rabbits, and then also the poo you can use and make compost tea. You can spread right over your garden. There's so many layers to raising animals and growing food and how those two things have a relationship and work very well together, okay? But you control a lot of things when you can grow your own food. That is a huge control area. Raising your own animals, that's a huge control area, okay? Another thing is increase your preparedness items, right? The more you prep up, right, the more prepared you are for like grid down type situations, natural disaster type situation, then obviously those those actual situations will be better. Okay, you'll be better off for them. Your quality of life, your family will be better. And so having those items, that is a control area. If you control that, then again, you are not depending on, let's say something happens and you're depending on Red Cross coming in and getting you water and getting you food. Now, I'm not talking specifically about the tornado thing, okay, because that's totally different. If your house gets totally leveled, and it doesn't matter if you prepped, you need help, right? Okay. But there's a lot of things though that will happen that your house doesn't get leveled, and you can then have stuff and have preps and be able to control what happens. Okay. You don't have to go somewhere for help, or you don't have to wait for help to come, because you're okay. The power went off for 2-3 weeks because you're on the outskirts of a storm. You're okay because you have those preparedness items and you're controlling that whole situation. You're controlling that in that moment. You're not sitting there waiting on your porch like I was during Hurricane Katrina, hoping, wondering when Red Cross was going to come and bring some food and water. Okay, so that's what I mean by you control the situation. Other things I have is things like, situations like 1984, right? You control your education, right? Get your manuals, get your books, get those things while you can, right? It's easily available at any moment to go and virtually buy anything you want. A manual, how to do whatever it is, how-to books, fiction books, any kind of books and manuals. Get those things, okay? Because we might get to a point where that stuff is not here anymore, right? And so, or a world-ending event or something happens where that stuff is not manufactured anymore. We can't get it anymore, whether it's a 1984 situation or not. You just, for whatever reason, we can't get books anymore. And so you need to get that stuff while you can, right? Control your level of education. Okay, and the more information you have at your disposal on hand physically, then the better off that you'll be when you're trying to find information. Do not depend on the internet to be there every day. Do not depend on the power grid to be there every day. And so you've got to have that stuff so that you can control the area of education for yourself and learning how to do stuff. Okay. And then defensive tools, right? Lethal and non-lethal. You control this area. So having options, having various things that you can use, varying things that different family members can use, whether that's kids or older kids or young adults, older folks, but having a variety of defensive tools, lethal and non-lethal. Control this area, okay? Control fortification of your home and being able to fend for yourselves and ensure that you keep your family safe and your preps safe, okay? And then finally, you control, because a lot of people will be like, I don't have money, I don't, and I'm not telling you to buy all this stuff today. What I'm telling you merely to do is that there's areas that you do control, and if you get those areas on lock, then that will make whatever is coming our way in 2022 better, okay? In 2022 and beyond, okay? So if you're watching this video past that, like, these are viable areas that are helpful to get on lock so that you're not dependent on a government, on an entity, or any of that stuff. And so doing simple things like getting your emergency preparedness plans written out and on lock, okay? You control that area, and then you, again, knowing what's going to happen, your family knows what's going to happen, you're going to then control the dynamic of whatever is happening, right? Organizing your preps, inventorying your stuff, knowing at all times what you have, where is it located, how much do you have, how long will it last. You are in control of the situation and what you're running, okay? And then your mental and spiritual, right? Your mind game, your mindset on how you are viewing things, your level of anxiety, stress, all of those things you control. You control how you feel, how you mitigate that, how you take care of yourself, that self-love. And so, that mindset, having a great mindset, and, your mental game and your spiritual game, those things matter, okay? And you control those. And if you can get them on lock, okay, that will make things so much better. Again, when if you're down and out and you're depressed and you didn't prepare and you're like, I don't know how to do this, and you can't make decisions, and you're gonna rely on somebody else to take care of you. And that's how people end up you know, easily going into these socialism type programs, right? This idea that everybody's equal and everybody will have the same thing, and right, and it's just, it's a silly system, but that's how people get there, because they didn't take advantage of controlling what they could control, taking advantage of the things that they could do for themselves instead of waiting for somebody to come do it. Because if you don't take control today, you will be that group of people that just easily gets in line for assistance and for help, okay? And who knows what you're having to give in order to receive that help, okay? So, because let me tell you, ain't nothing free in life, okay? Ain't nothing free. And if it's too good to be true, it is, okay? So I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. I look forward, as always, to all the comments below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.